Hello, welcome to Always Yarn First, podcast that delves into knitting, crochet, spinning, and all things yarn. I'm Lindsay, and I'm coming to you from Little Rock, Arkansas. To stay updated on my latest yarn adventures, you can follow me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome! Today is episode 62. It is Friday, May 3rd. Before we get into it, the lighting is a little bit weird because it's a very gray, stormy, rainy day. So bear with me. And also I'm trying to podcast this time without my glasses. I do have them here. So if this doesn't work, you might see me put them on. But I can see close up without them. And I think my eyes have been changing drastically lately, so it actually hurts me to look at my computer with my glasses on. So I'm going to try this without my glasses, but if I make funny eye gestures or whatever, it's me trying to adjust to that. So, all right, so before we get into the podcast, a couple of things. I have finished the Knit All the Small Things make-along. That was being held in my Ravelry group, and I pulled a winner, which is Sleater51, who is Shannon. I'll put the name on the screen here. So Shannon, if you're seeing this, please contact me at AlwaysYarnFirst@gmail.com, and I will send out a prize to you. Congratulations. Also, I am still pushing for 500 subscriptions on my YouTube channel. So if you are here and are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Once I reach 500, I have a Sock Yarn Society March box, complete with all the goodies that Lori has graciously donated as a giveaway on this podcast. So that's exciting. All right, so episode 62. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you find something that you like and will stick around. I name every podcast after a song title, whether it's regarding my making, my life, something going on at that point. So this week's episode song title is Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. I forgot to say because my love of music was before my love of yarn. So I have a Spotify playlist that has every song of every episode name. If you'd like to follow that, I have the link below. All right, let's get into the podcast. So things we're going to be covering this week is what I'm wearing, finished objects, cast-ons, whips, acquisitions, and goals. And in there I have a brief new podcast to me recommendation. So I will have timestamps below for all those things if you'd like to skip around. So let's start with what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing an oldie but goodie. This is This Summer Sorrel by Wool and Pine. I made this in 2020, and I had used I believe it was a 5 skeins of 50 grams fade set from Pineapple Knits, who unfortunately is not dyeing anymore. I love her bright colors, and I love this summer sorrel. I have a link to my project page below, although when I looked at it this morning, I don't think I've put many notes on it, but love this sweater. All right, so let's get into finished objects. All right, so finished objects, I have 3. Which is amazing because if you were here the last episode, you know I was in a serious rut. And we're going to talk goals this week. And these 3 were all on my goals to finish for the month of April. And one barely made it done. So let's talk about this beauty. So I'll take it off here. Now this has not been blocked yet. So it's pretty wrinkly. This is the V-Back Tee DK by Jamie Hoffman. So this would be the front, technically, because it's the V-Back Tee. But you can, it is reversible. You can wear the V in the back. Love this pattern. This was a very quick knit once, for the time it actually took me when I knit on it. So yeah, I love this. This yarn is Camellia Fiber Co. Yak DK base, which is 65% merino, 20% silk, and 15% yak. And it is luscious. It is so good. It's one of those things you just want to squish. It's so soft. So love it. I can't wait to block it, but I didn't want it to be wet for the podcast. So I just have it on my mannequin here. So she'll keep us company here the rest of the podcast. So love, love, love that yarn. This is the first time I've been working with the Camellia Fiber Co. And I have another, I can't remember. I got another garment amount. I can't remember what I have it set aside for. Maybe a rift, but don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. So loved this base. All right. The other thing I did is my April DVD socks. So here is one on the blocker. Here's the other one. This is essentially just a vanilla sock. I did link my basic top-down socks by me because I did do these top-down, Kitchener to toe. So my DVD socks, if you're new, is Desert Vista Dyeworks. I am doing her year-long knit-along where every month you need to finish a pair of socks in her yarn start to finish. And so these were the ones, the last podcast when I was barely knitting anything, these were pretty much the only thing I was actively knitting on because once I don't finish for the month, I'm out for the rest of the year. So if you finish all 12 months in the year for the knit along, then she dyes up a special color just for people who finished the knit along all year. So I was like, if I only finish one thing in April, I was on the second sock, thankfully. I think I was just getting ready to start the heel and I powered through and finished it. And then eventually got my mojo back, thankfully. So glad these are done. These are going to be a gift. I actually didn't think they'd be here for the podcast, but they were. You're going to hear my cat jumping up to the china cabinet here. He's revving up. All right. So what's funny is, so these were the first things I did finish in April because those were the priority, the only thing I needed to get done. Then I was on the short rows of this one and I kind of like was looking through the pattern and I realized that after the short rows, it's pretty much ribbing and that's it. The little tiny bit for sleeves. I'm just watching this cat. Maybe he feels pressured because I'm right next to him. So I realized how close I was to finishing this thing. And so I'm like, oh, I can totally get this done because this was on my goal for the month. So I got that done. And then, oh, there it goes. Then the other socks that was on my goal for the month was to finish these, which I was calling my Skittles socks. The Skittles is the colorway here. Oh, I didn't even say the colorway for this. This is Little Women by Desert Vista Dyeworks. And this one didn't have a color. It was a one of a kind. Yeah. All right. So this is Legacy Fiber Arts. It was, I think they call it a micro set where it's a 50-gram mini of the main and then a 20-gram mini of the mini to go with it. So I literally used the set. This is the mini that came with it. So Skittles is the colorway. And again, I had one sock done and this was kind of my background sock because I always have to have a sock on the needle. So once I finish my Desert Vista Dyeworks for sure, I always have to have something on my needles until I can start the next month Desert Vista Dyeworks. So these ones are just for me. Again, these are just, did I do these top down? No, I did these ones toe up. And I always do shadow wrap heel. That is my go-to. In fact, if you are local to the area in Arkansas, I will be teaching the Shadow Wrap Heel class at Arkansas Yarn Co. on May 18th. There are still a few slots open, but you need to sign up in advance because you need to do a little bit of homework. You will have to cast on your sock stitches, do 5 rows of ribbing, 5 rows of knitting. So that way when we get into the class, we can immediately start the heel and work on that. But definitely highly recommend. I will put a link below to where you can sign up for the class. But yeah, so I had a good bit of these left. I was before the heel, and it was a couple days still to April left. And I was looking at my goals and stuff. I look at I make a Google Doc for my notes for the podcast, and I just keep it ongoing. So I copy and paste so that it's easy to update my notes as I podcast. And so I was looking at my goals because I knew this was a goals episode, and I'm like, oh, I really wanted to finish these. And I'm like, well, I have a few days, and I was getting ready to start the heel, and I don't like tall socks. And so I thought, I bet if I focused on these, I could do it. So, actually, so I know I was doing pretty good. And then Tuesday, which was the last day of the month, I started the heel. And I have a meeting on Tuesday nights that I regularly go to, and I don't like to knit during it. So I'm like, okay, if I could get the heel done before my meeting, I could come home and just stay up until I finish them. So I literally made my daughter drive to and from, and I got the heel done right before we left, and I started knitting on these to and from, like 15, 20 minutes each way. And then I stayed up, and I got these done 11:30 at night on Tuesday night. My hands hurt the next day because I was just like trying to power through it. But I got them done, and I love them. So that is all of my finished objects. Being that I had pretty much like a week in the middle of April of non-knitting, I'm pretty excited that I got 3 things done this week. So let's get into new cast-ons. So, of course, because it is May, my new cast-on is this month's Desert Vista Dyeworks sock. And it's in my trappings and trinket bag, which is like my favorite sock bag. It's pretty much, this year has been my go-to. This is always my DVD socks, are always in this bag. And once I finish these, I pretty much pick next month's color. I wind it up and I put it in that bag. I keep my needles in it, and I'm ready to go. So this month I am using the colorway Graffiti Elephant. So it's doing a little fun thing where it's striping, but it's like striping gray with variegated. So you see I started with the gray, and then I have all these fun colors, and then like it's a gray stripe again, and then all these fun colors, and so on. So I technically did my cast on the other day. I've been trying, when I do cuff down, I've been trying the alternating cable cast on. It's really stretchy, and I've always said I'm a tight knitter, which means I'm extra tight casting on and I'm extra tight binding off. So I prefer the German twisted, which people say is good for tight knitters, but mine I still do super tight. So I've really been enjoying the alternating cable cast on. It is very stretchy, but it's for me, it's not hard. I follow the YouTube video tutorial by Ysolda T, and she does a great job. It's a couple minute video, which I like. It's very to the point. She shows you very clearly what you need to do. It's not hard, but you know how when you're learning something, even if it's not hard, your brain has to like switch modes from what you've been doing and concentrate. So that's how it is for me. And even though I've gotten my knitting mojo back, there is still life things happening. The only difference is that week of non-knitting where I was too emotional to knit, now has become my back to my coping mechanism for the emotional things, which I'm very grateful for. But my brain is still very cluttered. So that one cast on was taking me forever. I went to the yarn shop Wednesday and I had just had the cast on and it didn't even look right and I still wasn't happy with it. And I didn't knit anything because it was the only thing I brought. So today, the cast on is like just the cast on, no knitting of any stitches. That's all I had. I have done this morning. So I finally got my brain to push on and be okay with how the cast on looked. So I'm happy to get this started. And then I was planning on doing the new, oh man, and I forgot the name of it. And my printed copy is in the other room. Okay, the Lazy Daisy Socks by Stephen West just came out. A nice textured socks. He uses a Zauer ball, so like a self-striping. And I thought, ooh, I should do my DVD socks in that pattern. I usually do vanillas just because I like to not have to think about them in case, life happens and I'm trying to rush to get them done. But I thought, oh, I'm good now. I think I'll start these socks. Again, not a hard pattern. I've done this daisy stitch before, but it's a 4-row repeat and I was in the 3rd row, started on this morning, past the ribbing in the 3rd row of the repeat, and I messed something up and I'm just like, nope, not this month, not these socks. Maybe the next other vanillas I will do them. I want them, but again, these ones have to get done during the month. So I was like, nope, I am not prepared to deal with a potential issue. I probably could have just gone back, fixed the issue, and moved on and been fine. But it took me so long to get this started that I'm like, nope, I'm just going to continue on with vanilla. There is another pair of socks I want to cast on. That's why I wanted to get these off my needles. Another pair of socks for a friend who is moving. And maybe on those ones, I will do those Lazy Daisy stitches. So this is just vanilla, which means besides the alternating cable cast on, I am, just following my basic toe down socks recipe. So yeah. So DVD socks, that is the only new cast on, although it's been sitting for a couple weeks, but I have another top I would like to cast on that will only take 2 skeins of fingering. So I have the yarn, I've had it set aside since I found this pattern. I'll have to put it in below because I don't remember the name. But it's knit sideways around. So it's knit flat and it's knit sideways, but I just love how it looks. And I have a few different 2 skein combos in my stash. And so I immediately picked out 2 skeins of yarn that I had gotten from Maureen of Charming You that I love. But when I caked up on my yarn recently, I didn't cake that up because that was still when I was really having my off week. And so I'm like, am I really going to cast that on? But now that I've finished a garment, I may do that this week. So hopefully you'll see that next time. We'll see. All right, so let's get into whips. I have only actively worked on 3 whips, and it's not a ton, but I'm going to show it. So the first one is in my black Purl magic bag, and this is the Shimmering Purl. This is a 1 skein shawl. I don't know if the sparkle's showing up, but this is Arkansas Yarn Co. Yummy Sparkle in the Barbie World colorway. This is a fun lace pattern shawl. Trying to make sure I don't lose any stitches here. And it is all clumped up on the needles, so I'm just kind of going to show you in the middle where my stitch marker is. I'm in the garter section again. Last time I was just under the garter section, so I've done basically 6 rows. So yeah, I love this yarn for this pattern. This is one of those, like, when you think of a one skein shawl, you think of using a special colorway, like maybe you got it on vacation or it was for a certain event. This was, I'm pretty sure this colorway was released last year at the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. So I just love this. So yeah, I really want to get this done. I think it is beautiful. I think it's just such a nice, subtle variegated. Just a lot of white with little pops of hot pink. And if you've been here for a while, you know I am a sucker for yarns with the hot pink pops. I love that. And I will buy almost every skein yarn I can that has that in it. So here's how much I have left. I still have quite a bit left. There's only one more lace section after I do this garter section, and then there's a picot bind off, which I know takes up quite a bit of yarn. So loving this. Okay. The next thing, again, haven't worked on it much. Don't have much to say because I'm literally still in the body of this sweater. This is in a woolly bean bag. This is my rocket tee. Once again, this is Chelsea Luxe in her colorway Spring Chicken, which I love so much. Again, pops of pink. So I'll hold it this way first so you can see I have made some progress. I am just in the body. I am just knitting. I am not doing the detail that usually runs down the side of it. I am not doing that on this one. So this is a one color. It's coming along. It's coming along. Yeah. But I really picked this up after I finished this one because I'm like, okay, I got a garment done. Like, what's stopping me on this? Because again, this is like nothing for the sleeves. I think it's just kind of like binding it off, making it pretty. If I remember correct, I have made a rocket tee before, and I have made a rocket tee DK also before. Love this pattern. And so it's just the body I need to finish. So now this garment has become my priority. And no, before you ask, have I finished the Give Me the Tee, the one where I had to do the fold hem? Nope, sure didn't. Haven't touched it as predicted. It's still in a bag, like hanging by my yarn, just, you know, waving at me every day. I will pick it up. It's just, I need to mentally be in the right place to do it. So, all right, I have one more project that I have touched, and that is my Wave to the Fans. It is in NicNacKnits bag. All right. And this is my true scrappy blanket. Back to having some TV time with my daughter. So today is May the 3rd. And for you Star Wars geeks, of course, tomorrow is May the 4th. Be with you. So I also do a lot of my exercising I do on an Oculus, which is like the virtual reality headset. I do a program called Supernatural. If you've ever heard of Beat Saber, it's similar, but it's way more full body workout than Beat Saber. And so for this week, they have a special 3 workouts that are Star Wars themed. So it has all the John Williams cinematic music. It has the light side, the dark side, and then May the 4th be with you workout. So I've been doing those, and then I'm like, you know, it's been a while. I love Star Wars, the like core Star Wars movies, but I'm not like extreme geek that knows every single, I haven't watched every little series and side movie and know every character, and I enjoy it. But I thought, you know, I haven't watched the core Star Wars movies in a while. So I decided that this week was going to be the week with May the 4th. So I did skip episodes 1 through 3 though, which is young Anakin Skywalker. I don't hate him as much as other people. However, I just didn't feel like it this time. So I started with episode 4, which is, the OG movie. And so tonight, my daughter and I are going to watch The Empire Strikes Back. So there will be more knitting on this tonight. So I have 5 more movies to watch. So this will probably get a lot of progress next time. So there's my progress keeper. Where was it? You can see. And I'm sure I said this last time, but you see kind of like I was doing more similar colors toward the beginning. But then I just threw caution to the wind and made this true scrappy blanket. And I'm loving it more now. So I have in my bag, you can see through there, I have little balls of scraps. And you're holding this yarn double, so I'm holding fingering weight double. And so right now, I'll pull what 2 balls I had out. So this was from my Gritty Knits All Year Advent. Once I add them to my Anna Zadora shawl, these are perfect to add in here. And this is a real oldie. This is, I know this was a pair of socks, but I can't remember. It's like a caramel kind of color with black tweedy bits in it. So I'm holding these together, and you'll see that I'm going to run out of one of them before the other. So when I run out of one of them, I just drop that one, continue going with the other one, and pick up another ball in here. I only keep so many little balls at the time because I don't want to be so overwhelmed. But then when I'm kind of running low or I'm finishing something and I have just a little bit, I'll throw a few more in here to choose from. And that has been super fun. This is literally my TV knitting. Not that I can't knit on something else, but when I'm hunkering down for especially a movie where I'm going to be there a couple of hours, I work on this. Remove my marker now before I forget. And this marker, this progress keeper, I got in a box from Kelly of La Mouton Rouge Knittery, Bloomington, Illinois. She had a Popples box. So that's where I got that. Okay, where's my needle? Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is Wave to the Fans. This is a pattern that Lori wrote, and it's lovely. It is available on Ravelry. So that is all I've worked on in the last 2 weeks. Much better than last episode, which was pretty slim pickings. So I feel pretty good about that. All right, so briefly, I want to mention a podcast highlight. Now, I only discovered this morning, so I've only watched 1 episode. But I wanted to mention Get Flocked, which was Emily and Ethan, and they are from New Zealand. And they are at the yarn store called Get Flocked. So I will link them below so you can go check them out. All right, so if you're only here for the making, for the knitting specifically, next we're going to get into briefly spinning, acquisitions, and then my goals for the month. So if you just here for the making, thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again next time. If not, let's continue on. So I did do some plying this month. Now you're going to have to excuse how this bobbin looks because I wasn't paying attention to moving my little thing where the yarn is wrapping on the bobbin. And so it got a little jumpy. It's fine. It just kind of jumped. So this is my project I've still been working on where I got FiberNympth, Fiber Advent last year, which was Lord of the Rings theme. I made 4 bobbins worth from those advents. Still have 2 bobbins left, parts of 2 bobbins, I should say. And then I have this brown alpaca, which I had spun up, and I am making a 3-ply yarn with the alpaca and then the 2 bobbins of the FiberNympth Advent together. So this is what I got done this week. You can say it's very maroon heavy. The great thing about this Advent, it's all earthy colors. So I feel like it goes well together. I honestly, depending when I'm done with this project, I'm thinking about making one of Andrea Mowry's, the Traveler shawl, cowl. She's having a year-long spin it to knit it for any Traveler pattern. So we'll see if I have enough yardage to make one of those, because that'd be great since I'm already in the middle of spinning for that. So my goal currently with spinning is to spin once a week, because I wasn't doing so many days a week, but usually when I get out my spinner, I'm like in it for hours. So it seems more reasonable at least to do once a week where I'm constantly doing something. So I'm really happy I got this done. All right, so we are now at acquisitions. So I got just a couple things to show. And then I got a gift in the mail, which is amazing. So let's talk about what I got first. Because I'm doing the Desert Vista Dyeworks year-long knit-along, I'm constantly looking for colors I like. Susan, the owner, she dyes to order. I've mentioned this before, but if you ever want Desert Vista Dyeworks and you go on her website and order, just know it could be a while. She is very transparent and great about, when you have your order number, you can go online. Every week she updates what order numbers she's currently working on, but you're not going to get it shipped quickly. So if you, were wanting to start this knit along and need yarn within the next week, it's not going to happen. But there's always good to go on Ravelry or other places for destashes. And sometimes you can find colors that you can't find anymore. So that is what I did. I had a few Desert Vista Dyeworks color, but for some reason, like all the colors in my stash were similar color vibes. And I'm like, okay, this is a problem. Like I can't choose a different color right now. So I needed something, and every time she posts colorways that are available currently, I bookmark them on Instagram. And so when I go to order, I will go into my Instagram saved and I'll type in all those names to see which of any of those are available. And then I'll take them off my save. Well, there was a bunch of again, bright pink ones that I wanted, and she didn't have any of them available at the time. And I was really bummed because I had just gotten my quarterly code for doing the make along, but you only had so long to use it. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't have any of the colorways I wanted. And so I had posted it, and she's like, I could add some of those in. And so she did, which was awesome. So about a week or so ago, I've placed an order for 3 or 4 colors. So I will be getting that. But in the meantime, I went onto Ravelry. You can go under yarns, type in Desert Vista Dyeworks, and then look under people's stash willing to trade or sell. And I found this beautiful color. Blue is my favorite color. Lori has gotten me into a hot pink especially, but I love blues. This has peach in it. And this obviously was a special colorway because this is called the 7-Year Itch, a Knit Girls exclusive colorway. So I don't even know, this is the old label. The labels don't look like this anymore. So this is quite a while ago. And I love this. So I am super excited that I got this on a D-stash. So I was almost going to start this month, but I already had the graffiti elephant picked out. So maybe next month. All right. And then I posted this on my Instagram. Lori, my dear friend from Arkansas Yarn Co., her father has recently passed away. In fact, this weekend is his funeral, or celebration of life, I should say. And she was doing a trunk show at Juju Knits in Texas, and she made up a colorway in tribute to her dad, and it is stunning. So this is Papa's Paintbrush. This one is on the Yummy Plush base. I was actually going to get it on Sparkle, but when I went into the store Wednesday and looked at this versus the Sparkle, I feel like the color was more vibrant on this one. So I actually decided to go with this one instead. And it is, again, blue. Definitely have a vibe this time, even with my gift that I got. It's beautiful. She has more of these in stock. And she also did another colorway for the trunk show called Like a Good Neighbor, which if you like lilac-y purple, similar kind of tone where it has the speckle section and then purple. So if you like this type of yarn, definitely go check that out. So I got that Wednesday. Along with my sock club for May, which I never show those on this podcast because I do an unboxing video. And that way, if you watch this and you get the club and you don't want to be spoiled, you won't be. So if you want to see what was in the Sock Yarn Society for May, go to my channel and look at that. It is up right now. All right, so that's all I purchased. Now I got something in the mail from my friend Christy. Now, Christy went with me to Kansas City, so I knew about this first thing because she had done all the knitting for it and she was planning on stuffing it and giving it to me that weekend. But then we had such a good time and we went out to dinner with Christine and Sarah and time got away and it was awesome. It was an awesome weekend. So Christy made me an emotional support chicken. And again, this is blues and hot pinks, like, yes. Now, Christy got the kit. It comes in the bag. It has like the nutritional facts. It's really cute on there. It comes with the pattern and everything. So she gifted me the bag. It has the pattern. So I could make one of these, but if you've been here for a while, you know how I feel about making any kind of toys. I really don't like them. I can do them. I just don't like them. So I told Christy this was literally the most perfect gift ever because, of course, everyone's been talking about these things and I wanted one, but I did not want to make one. So this is perfect. And not only that, but Christy made herself one, me one, and Lori one. So all three of us have matching chickens. And this kit, we all have matching colors, everything. It's exactly the same. And this kit is Dolly Parton. So she is beautiful and I love her. And I'm giving you a hug right now, Christy. Thank you so much. I love this. All right. But Christy sent me something else because Christy spoils her friends. Every time I see Christy, I know I have to give her a gift because I know she's going to have something for me every time. Well, so after Christy went to Kansas City with me, 2 weeks later, she went to Chicago to YarnCon. And then a week later, she went to St. Louis for Midwest Fiber Festival, which her and I went to together last year. So when she was in Chicago was kind of like the week where I was just like, dead, like non-existent, and she bought me something and it is right up my alley. She bought me two braids of fiber. I mean, seriously, each of these are 4 ounces from Supernova Dyeworks. I mean, mint, teal, blue, yes, 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 yes. The colorway is Let Me Love You, which is just ironic to me in my head the week I was having. So this is 100% superwash merino wool. So I really need to finish up my Advent spinning so I can spin other things. I have so much fiber right now. I feel like I said, that spinning project I'm on right now is great. It's like neutrals and earthy tones, which is great. But my heart is craving the brights. I need something bright. I need something cheery in my life. So Christy is amazing and I love you, girl. So that is it for acquisitions. Now, the last section we have is we're going to briefly go over goals. So my April goals, what were they? My DVD socks. I wanted to get my Muppet shawl through Clue 2, the Skittles socks, and the V-back tee. So as you saw, I finished 3 out of 4 of those. So again, being the month I had, I'm ecstatic about that. The Muppet shawl, I have not touched since you've last seen it, which is okay. I'm just happy my mojo back at all. So I will get to it when I get to it, and that's all right. So my yarn in for the month of April was 6, not too bad. But my total for the year is 51. And then my yarn out was 10 skeins, which is a total of 35 skeins out. Briefly, because I have it on here on my list. So my make 9 statuses. Again, I always make 9 boards at the beginning of the year. And even with these goals I make monthly, they're just for me personally. I'm not so serious about them where I'm going to beat myself up. I just like having some kind of goal to work toward. If I don't make it, it's okay. I'm following my joy in my making, which we should all do. So my Make 9 status, I have 2 boards. I had a whip board of things I've already started that I wanted to get done. And then I had a stash board, which means I bought yarn and have it set aside for a specific project. But I hadn't started it yet. So right now on my whip board, let's see if I can get this so I can see it. On the whip board, I have totally tessellated socks, which I have finished 1 of, the lovely ribbed leg warmers, which is barely a whip board because I literally have cast on and not even joined in the round. The Aruba tank, the eyelet burst shawl, the batad, give me the tee, the litmus cowl was on there, under the tree socks, and the Lamana luxury cardigan. So the litmus cowl I finished. The under the tree socks I frogged. The give me the tee I have on here as active because y'all have seen I've pretty much finished the knitting. It's just the seaming I have to do. And the Lamana luxury cardigan I have as active, but it's really not, y'all. I have not touched it for how long? Again, I don't know what it is with that project. I want it so badly, but I cannot make myself work on it. I feel like I need to do a 30-minute a day thing with that one. All right, so the stash board, what do we have? The Minimalist, the Salty Air Tee, the Flux, the Rocket Tee, Oslo Hat mohair version, the Cozy Cardigan, the Diggory Tee, the Mazzoni Vest, and the Shimmering Purl. So I finished the Minimalist. I finished the Flux. Obviously, you saw I have the Rocket Tee is active right now, and the Shimmering Purl is active right now. So I am making progress. I mean, we're getting closer to the half a year, but again, whatever gets made, and that's okay. And last year, I had 2 boards similar to this year, a whip board and a regular board, and the whip board got done. And I say that because if it didn't get finished, it got frogged, which I was happy with. Y'all know that I like mini projects on the needles because I like to be able to use different needles, different fiber, all those things to get my interest going. So I already know I'm going to be ending with more things on my needles that don't get finished by the end of the calendar year. And so there'll be more things for a whip board next year. But the goal is to, finish them at some point. So I really like that whip board. All right, and that is it for my making. So I thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe, share this podcast, make sure others subscribe, and then we will have a big giveaway for the Sock Yarn Society March box that I have. What else do I have? I feel like there was something else and it just flew away out of my mind. Yeah. Make sure that you are watching the Sock Yarn Society unboxing, which is also on my channel, and I also put it on the Arkansas Yarn Co. channel as well. So that is there. And If you're interested in learning the shadow wrap short row heel and you are local-ish to me, make sure you go on to Arkansas Yarn Co. and sign up for that class. So if not, I will see you in 2 weeks. Happy making. Bye.